Is this Mike from around the world?
Yes, it is. Good evening, Pastor Paul.
Good evening, Israel. It's a little distorted. See if you can. It does look like he's. Mike, you got your microphone up there?
Yeah, I'm maxed out.
Okay, we can hear you, though. We can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. Great to have you here tonight, Mike. There's a lot going on. I guess the pineapple shirt is on tonight.
Yeah, see that. Good to be here.
It's good to have you. Mike, you brought some unbelievable things last Thursday night. That I actually have a transcript here of your thoughts and comments. And we were looking at it, and we said, man, we got to ask Mike some stuff. And one thing you said 3 times without me asking. You said, the fire is coming. The fire is on the way. The fire is coming. And you said it 3 different times in the broadcast. Can you tell us what you meant by that, Mike, or can you help us understand this?
Well, fire in 3 different ways, really. Physical fire on the lands, heavenly fire from above, and a type of very difficult situation in most lands.
So, a fire from above, that would be the Holy Ghost. That would be the fire from God. Or would it?
And a physical fire from above.
A physical fire from above. Is that from the all this heavens are shaking from Planet X, Nibiru? Is this the meteor storm that's coming?
Yeah, we actually have an inbound cluster.
How far is it now, Mike, before we start seeing that?
I suspect that will begin in about within a month.
Within a month? Are you serious?
Yeah, we're not far off. Yeah, we'll start seeing remnants of that within a month.
Mike. Okay, so in other words, it's going to start seeing the remnants of it. In other words, to be very slow beginning of it. Will it increase?
Oh yeah, we'll see these sporadic increases. For example, right now we have incursions every so often. That frequency of incursions will increase. It'll be followed by atmospheric explosions, no doubt, which, by the way, is going to be hard to tell the difference between the atmospheric explosions from meteorites and external weapons.
I want to apologize, folks, about Mike's phone. A little difficult to hear. I lost my phone today. I don't know where it's at. I lost it. I don't know where I left it or lost it. So we're using Heidi's phone, and Mike is calling from a different secured line, looks like, to her phone. And so it may not sound as clear as it normally does, but I think if you work with him and work with us, you'll be able to hear him well enough. Mike, you mentioned, let's talk about that again, because we brought up Stephen Ben-Hanun, last week, and about how he's saying, hey, you better check with Mike. Has he got any information about this incoming situation? So are you saying that this remnant of fire from above is it the same thing that he's talking about, or is this something different?
No, it could be one in the same. When we're talking about the heavens and certain events in the heavens that are atmosphere that will come here, we have problems. We're going to have to move beyond the stage of knowing about the information to actually dealing with the physical events that will take place.
So let's talk also a little bit about hurricane. You said there was going to be a water event coming 3 weeks ago. You mentioned it again last week. Hurricane Ida hit, wiped out Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and then last night and today, 45 more people have died in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, and Connecticut. We've lost about 50 people so far, and there's, if you look at all of it, is this the water event you're referring to?
No, but it certainly is a prelude to a water event. Pastor Paul, about on the 23rd, I think somewhere around there, 23rd, I was disturbed with a dream or vision, whatever you call it. I can't tell the difference. But I was walking towards a house, and water came in the windows. It was just flooding out through the windows. Well, everybody started backing out of the house into the street. And by the time we got into the street, we could see in the distance fire. I turned around because I was going to go back another street over. Before I could get to the other street, the houses were on fire. So it was impressed upon me, and I did a small, short broadcast in COT. And I just told everybody about it. I said, when the water comes, the fire will follow. Well, somebody in where the fires are in out west, they heard that. They saw the glow, and they just packed up and left their house. And when they said about 15 minutes after they did that, they had looked back and their house was on fire.
What?
Yeah, so it helped a few people out.
So, yeah, because we have these massive wildfires, outrageously. I mean, what else can I say about what's happening to California and the West Coast, and the drought and the lack of water and the drying up of the Colorado River, and on and on and on. But east of the Mississippi, my Lord have mercy, the unseasonable flooding. I mean, we take it all the way back, Mike, to Detroit and Kansas City. And now, you know, these hurricanes that have been hitting, all this water. And yet you're saying this is just a precursor. The fire is coming. Water's first, but the fire is coming. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, we're going to have, that was on a small scale, I believe. But normally in my dreams, it's the way you feel inside that dream. There's no time to second guess anything. That's what's coming up. You know how right now when something happens, we have time to second guess it. A time is coming when the events will happen so fast. There's no time to second guess it. You're either going to have your mind made up or not, which means we're moving into an area, even scientifically by observation. The heavens are busy tonight. They're very busy tonight. Not only are the heavens busy, but in some of the land masses in the world, we have forces at strength in the sky right now, right? So everybody's on edge in a way that an accident will most likely take place. But things will happen from so many different directions. Dealing with fire and water, it will be overwhelming.
What is the time frame? Do you have an idea what the time frame is for the water event followed by the fire event?
Everybody should keep in mind winter is coming. But before winter, we have more patterned hurricanes coming up the line. Only mercy is going to keep that water back. So when the winter comes, Pastor Paul, the snow yield, the yield of the snow, which will produce water, could be devastating by the time it melts. Can you imagine a consistent snowfall in certain areas, right? Large, and it just stays there. All of a sudden it melts. It gets real hot and it melts all at one time. That's going to be massive flooding inland, right? So here we have, you can see by these hurricanes, by low pressure systems, the ability of the atmosphere to retain moisture and just dump it inland, right? That's going to increase at least another 250% by winter, right? So we're going to have problems with water, but that'll be followed. This water event is going to be followed by a global water event. The ice melt is just melting too fast. Too fast. The currents are starting to change all throughout the oceans. Land masses are moving. Now, with certain breaks in these earthquakes that we're having, we're going to have a couple that will disturb the water. And what I mean by that, there's an updraft coming, which means land masses will start coming up from the bottom. They're doing it now in the Atlantic Ocean. as they push up, the water spreads out. Right?
Yep.
Just like a cup. Drop an ice cube in a cup, the water level goes up. The same thing is happening in the Atlantic. You have upthrust in the Atlantic, you have upthrust in the South Pacific, and land masses are coming up from the bottom, forcing just unbelievable amounts of water inland. This will be somewhat abrupt because magma is somewhat exponential as it travels. In the North Atlantic, we have a real problem. There's a lot of land moving. I believe it's about a 1,000-mile span of land just popping up, right?
What?
1,000 miles in radius.
1,000 miles?
That water displacement is unbelievable. You also have deep trenches that are being filled in certain places by magma, moving magma. That's forcing water up also. This, in conjunction with the current change, the hot and cold flows of current in the ocean, are helping to melt more of the ice. So with the permafrost missing and all this, that, and the other, with the atmosphere increasing in its temperatures, you're looking at a circulatory system of the ocean and air that is just causing an ice melt nobody can deal with. Plus, we have water issues in the ocean. That water displacement, Pastor Paul, is going to translate into about 2.5 feet of water rising seemingly overnight.
Now, people in the East Coast, this Hurricane Ida residue, this incredible 10 inches of rain in New York City, a foot of rain in just outside of Philadelphia. I mean, these areas are just absolutely flooded. And, but you're saying this isn't the water event that's coming to that area, that it's going to get way worse.
Yes, yeah. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, God said he wouldn't destroy the earth by a flood anymore. That's right.
That's right.
He will not destroy the earth by water. But there will be floods and earthquakes in diverse places, right? The earth will not be destroyed by water. It's going to be destroyed by fire this time. But the water is going to cause every single coastal city to have problems and issues. Everything on the coastlines is going to be like New Orleans. And here's another problem, Pastor Paul. Some of the older rock that we have, like in America, is starting to sink. Recently, just last week, the government put markers in the Ozarks and various other places. I believe they put down about, it had to be at least 300-400 million sensors in the U.S. to measure topology changes, because we're having ground swells in America. Older rock is sinking in America. The Appalachian Mountains are fluctuating in America, right? So we're having all these issues because deep underneath us, where some of the older rock was solid, is being disturbed by magma, which is why they have a heat increase under New York City right now. They were talking about that this weekend. The gas companies have to make modifications to the gas system in New York City. Why? Because deep underneath New York City, the heat is rising. Pennsylvania has an extenuated problem of coal burning, and it's starting to reach Ohio. Well, it's already gone into Ohio. It's starting to reach New York also, but it's also traveling south. So we have fires that have formed underneath the ground, and we have fires coming from above the ground. And nobody needs to be reminded, down the Mississippi is a chain of nuclear facilities.
So, Mike,
go ahead.
You're saying the coal is burning under the ground over in the Appalachian Mountain area.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what's igniting that coal? It has to be the magma rising?
It's been ignited, Pastor Paul, for the last, 30 years?
From
Nobody
magma?
can put it out.
From magma rising? What's doing it?
No, this started about 35 years ago in a very small way. It just ignited down there, they're digging for coal. They can't put out a coal fire, that deep underground. But something else happened. It hit a gas pocket. The cold is. So the gas is seeping out, feeding that fire or that problem, that heat, right? Then, of course, 2 years ago, scientists said they found a caldera underneath New York. That story just went away, right?
What? Are you? Whoa, are you serious? Are you under New York, the Big Apple?
Don't you remember when they said they found a huge caldera underneath New York City?
Yeah, but I just kind of blew it off.
Well, the scientist said, well, it'll take 1 billion years for it to come topside. But I want everybody to know something. In the last, 5 years, we've had over 57 1,000-year storms. How about that? So things that normally would take a geological process of maybe a few hundred years or so, you might as well cut that down to a year or so, right? That's why they're having problems with their infrastructure right now underneath New York City. Things are changing all throughout America and all throughout all the other lands quickly.
So when you say the fire's coming, some of it's coming from above, but some of it's coming from below.
That's right.
And Peter, 2 Peter chapter 3 tells us the earth is going to melt with a fervent heat. Even the elements are going to burn up. It does tell us that. We can't escape that at some point, right?
No, we can't. That's all. Just look, if you look at America and where the populace in America is located, what would happen if magma breached some of the pipelines that we have going down to Texas into the Gulf? The Gulf would be on fire.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That's a very real scenario. And do you not know that's a scenario that's incorporated into government preparedness?
Wow. So the fire's coming, folks. I think that's why maybe why Mike brought this up 3 times last week without me really catching on to what he was trying to say. But after going back and looking at the transcript from last week, I see Mike's point. There's a lot going on. What else, Mike, is that you've come across in the last month that you've been holding back and knowing just saying, oh my Lord, that you can share even or give us a clue, give us a hint that we should be concerned about?
Well, I think that these next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, are going to be quite straining upon everybody, Pastor Paul. For Christians, be careful not to be lured into conversations and divisiveness. Be careful of that. Be very careful. Also, these storms that are coming and damaging the infrastructure bit by bit, they're going to cause greater complications. Be aware of that also. Be aware of that. You guys have smart meters all over the place. We have a new comm system in the atmosphere. We have a whole different comm system in the atmosphere over America, indeed, and throughout the world. The West is there's an exodus happening right now from the West to Texas. A lot of people are going to Texas right now. So these are troubled areas, but you got to be ready to hold on to all things of your spirit and Christ. And Pastor, we didn't discuss this yet, but there's a new doctrine out there.
All right.
That's being distributed.
Okay.
It's very challenging. They're coming forward with evidence that will shake the faith of many. If there's a weakness in a person, after seeing proof, I'm telling you now, Pastor Paul, some of those folks are going to move towards this hybridized religion. But I can also say this. We have a promise over us, those who are truly belong to Christ. We will not worship the dragon, the beast, take the mark of the beast. We will not go to that other side. Those who fall away, and we have to get our hearts ready for this, those who fall away are the tares. The tares fall away.
Yeah.
Jesus said he will keep all who He said, all who come to me, the Father hath given me, and I will in no wise cast out.
Right.
So our belief is God giving us to a son to be kept all the way home. But there's some that are sown among us. They're about to be revealed in a big way. They are very divisive. And once you start to pull away from them, they will get angry. Mm-hmm. They're kind of like those people, so long as you're doing right by them, they smile. As soon as you disagree with them, they get angry and throw a tantrum, and they're ready to kill you. Yep. They're about to be known. And one of the truths of that is a lot of people are losing their ability to hide what they truly are on the inside. And because it's going to be so close to home, a lot of people are finding this in their families. But we have to think soberly here. In truth, your children are your brothers and your sisters. In truth, right? Mm-hmm. We've just been given charge to raise them. But all those who are truly your family, the Lord will put all of you in his barn. But as far as the tares, he's bundling them together just like he said he would. So don't be afraid when they gather in groups against you. Don't be afraid when they kick you out of their clubs. They're going to do this expeditiously, especially right now, since in their eyes the timeline's a lot further than you know. And if you don't believe me, look in some of the new operations and policies, and you're going to notice Scripture all throughout those policies and all throughout those operations. They're going to utilize the names of Scriptures because even they know that we're close to something like Operation Starfall. I'm sure that people are talking about that new House resolution, and they're wondering what in the world that is. But think of it, Operation Starfall, Pastor Paul, in Revelation 6, or the sixth seal, the stars fall from heaven to earth.
Yes.
Like figs when shaken from a mighty wind. So there you are. They're going to utilize these things more and more because they realize, they actually believe. But they're doing something about it to save their own skin.
Right. So in other words, they know the stars are going to fall. They know the meteor storm is coming. They're preparing on how they're going to survive the apocalypse in the natural. We're preparing ourselves how we're going to be taken away forever to be with the Lord in the spiritual and natural both. Our whole body's going to go. So you say hyperized religion, a new doctrine. You're calling it a new doctrine, the hyperized religion, and they're going to try to get people to take the mark of the beast.
Oh, it's coming.
It's closer.
It is coming.
It's closer than we think, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is. The technology, the final elements of the technology, I personally believe that within a month and a half, it'll be in place.
The technology be in place?
Oh, yeah, technology will be in place. Think about something. They have jailed people. Lots of people have been jailed for not having their vaccine cards.
Yep.
And for forging them, right? Now, if they'll throw you in jail for forging a vaccine card, for crying out loud, well, then it's all gone now. If they get away with that, they're getting away with that. See, we're supposed to have people on Washington say, no. You can't throw anybody in jail for that vaccine card. Because if they allow that, that sets a standard for future things. Any policy that passes will set a standard for future things. And any nefarious person can utilize those same policies according to their own will. And this is what everybody is truly setting up for, which is why you see these drastic changes in policy and everything else. Pastor Paul, it's getting late. I got to turn my motor off.
God bless you. I know it. God bless you, Mike. Thank you for joining us. We love you, brother.
God bless you, Pastor Paul.
See you next Thursday. God bless, brother.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. Mike from the world, folks. He knew it was time to go because, he knew it was time to go. And we better know it's getting time to go.